I can't afford a bad hire, especially a bad remote hire. That guy's going to get me for about 7 to 10,000 if he fools me. No one wants to be in a ship where you don't know who the captain is. You need to know how to do the work. A lot of the young guys don't.
All right, everybody, what's going on here? Patrick Carr, Blue Collar Media Group. Excited to be with one of my friends, colleagues over at JobProgress, and talking about David here for the first episode. JP's Tough Takes, your no BS blog for the home service industry. Folks, I've gotten a chance to read through some of this stuff. Incredible information. So, David, my first question for you is, why start the blog? Why the first podcast? Where did this come from in your mind?
Patrick, by the way, good morning. I'm excited. Yeah. This is my first ever podcast, blog entry, whatever you wanted to say, video blog. It all started because I met a really talented group. It's the Meehan group, and they are expert writers. They are specifically creating content for the home improvement and contracting industry. And when I met these people, they gave me a couple of compliments, and they were like, David, sometimes when you talk, it seems like you're very passionate. Maybe you should actually put this stuff out there. Do you have a blog? And I'm like, no, I don't have time. I was making up every excuse in the book, like we all do. But believe it or not, as soon as they said podcast, I'm like, oh my God, I can get Patrick involved. And so they're writing it. We have a 45-minute session once a month where we just talk about any subject, and the more controversial, the better. I started out with the Great Resignation because, my business partner, Dennis Dara, who owns Double D, he's plagued. We just had a conversation with you 5 minutes ago about losing someone. Everyone is migrating. This is the Great Migration. They call it the Great Resignation, but I don't know. It's not like people are dying. People are just moving out of where they were to where they want to be. And to me, it's a little disconcerting, but like all things, when there's change, there's opportunity. It's that great Chinese saying, it's the same symbol for change, the same symbol for opportunity, whatever the case may be. I'm trying to get a grip on this so that when I'm talking to my contractors that JobProgress serves, we're not, without any answers. And I think I have some interesting takes on the subject of what they're calling the Great Resignation.
I agree with you. And I want to set the stage for everybody who maybe has never thought about this or conceptualized the numbers. Looking back at August, over 10 million individuals left their jobs. That number increased to about 10.2 million in September. And then in October, it increased over to almost 10.5 million individuals leaving their jobs. So what David's referring to, everyone, this resignation is real, with more people leaving jobs now more than ever. So I want to jump in with you there, David, because you've got some great stuff here even I had not thought about the reasons why these individuals are leaving. And I want to start with number one here. You talked about an aging profession that we have. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Every day at my company, we sign up contractors and their companies for software so that they can run and manage their business. Most of the owners, Patrick, of those businesses are guys that are on their way out of the businesses. These are the aging population. They're on their way out. And guess what? The people that were closest to them, that allowed them to get to where they're at today, those carpenters they've always relied on, those, whatever it could be, a trim guy, a sheetrock guy, the painting crew, they're either starting their own businesses because they're moving up in the world, or they're actually deciding that work is not for them anymore. They're retiring. And so, or they may be changing to a different profession. That's an online profession.
Yes.
And so you take these three things, especially with an aging workforce, and a young workforce that has no skills. We work in, Patrick, you know what is this, man? I'm in home improvements. You need to know how to do the work. A lot of the young guys don't. And so they're forced to take low skilled jobs in areas that are more, I would consider them to be part of the digital economy.
Yes.
Home improvements are the real economy.
I talked about this before. I know we've got a pandemic right now of individuals that aren't producing something, a good. They aren't making something with their hands, putting the roof on, fixing the pipe, doing the stuff that you need to do. It's more of I want to become a YouTube influencer rather than I want to influence through the quality work that I'm going to do for somebody, which leads me to the next point right here. I think that people started to think about that during the pandemic. They were home. I have a theory about this, David, that a lot of individuals began to look at social media, glorifying themselves as wanting to be some, big influencer. And the trades almost seemed to got pushed to the side. Mm-hmm. So what kind of insights do you believe people took away from the pandemic that possibly has caused some of this resignation?
First, the demand during the pandemic increased because the home became three things at once. It became where you sleep, where you play, and where you work overnight. And therefore, the amount of home improvements exponentially increased. At the very exact same time that was happening, the opportunities that were digital opportunities increased. So now you have a divergent thing where labor is going one way and the demand is going the other way. It's creating a chasm. It's real. It's being felt by everyone. And these aren't just topics that are quote unquote, like in the news, right? I mean, remember we had like the supply shortage, which we still have, right? That's a topic that people are talking about. This is a movement that's happening. Like I could sense that this is going to be what they call like a sea change, a paradigm shift. This is something that is going to be with us, not for this year, Patrick. It's going to be with us for the next 10, 15 years.
Yes.
And that's where we have to start thinking about solutions at this point, right? When we have these.
I agree with you. I want to get the last 2 points. So let's jump into those solutions that we talked about right there. Options are expanding when it comes to people's careers. I say this because individuals are coming out of school, whether it be universities, less trade schools now, it seems like more than ever, but career opportunities have expanded. Do you believe that that is kind of pushing or exacerbating what you already have here with people resigning and wanting to try new things?
I'm personally, as a human being, I'm a lifelong learner. And I would never, even at my demise, stop you or anyone else from taking who you are today and improving on it and having that awareness of opportunity. So even though it hurts me, even though it hurts the industry, I'm an optimist and I'm all for it. So it's almost like I believe that the future benefits of having people do what they want to do in a way that they want to do it, I believe that it'll create more opportunity for society. And so I think in terms of the difficulty of it, I believe that it's temporary, but I believe that the effects are going to be very long term. It's going to be a complete shift in the way we think about work. And I don't see it going backwards.
Do you believe then that we need to change the perception itself of the construction industry? Is that part of the reason we're not seeing as many individuals excited about it?
I didn't believe it until you just said it. I didn't think those thoughts. You just thought those thoughts, and I like that. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, it's the perception. It's and it's aware. It's a national, maybe even global awareness.
Yeah. So that leads me to the solutions then, because we've got to change that perception of what the construction industry of the blue collar industry, as we might call it. How do we begin to make that happen? I thought you made some interesting points here and dove into them. The first one that I saw was, allowing people to work remotely. It seems to be something that companies go back and forth. Do we get people back into the office? Do we not? What are your thoughts on the remote work?
I was totally against it to some extent.
Right.
I believe that it's a huge privilege to be able to work remotely. I believe that you need fundamental self-discipline. I believe you need to have more ethical standards that are personal ethical standards to be able to control your own time and be the master of your own time and still serve the company that you're working for. But I believe that with the awareness that the worker has now that they want to be home, I think they know those new responsibilities go with that quote unquote new job. And it's worked out for us here at JobProgress. I can tell you that. I also know this, that in any war, for every person that's on the war field battling, there are 9 individuals that support that person in battle. For every war where someone's actually taking a gun and doing the fight, they're in the fight. There's 9 people supporting that effort that you never see. There's people who are doing the medics, who are doing the cooking, who are doing the transport and support. A lot of what's in the home improvement industry, Patrick, is behind the scenes. Success now and domination is behind the scenes. So you as an owner need to stop thinking that the guy who's going to make you successfully is out actually in the field. He could be at home 3,000 miles away. And if he's talented and he believes in your company and he shows up every day and he supports your digital marketing mission, if he supports your human resources activities, if he supports your business management activities, if he supports your marketing graphics, if he supports your local identity, if he supports your management in terms of just like planning and operations and productions, all that stuff can be done from somebody thousands of miles away. This actually, now that I'm even talking about it, even excites me more.
Yes. But I want to point out something before we move to your next point here, because I know that JobProgress does this, and I think it's important for customers and others out there in the industry to understand. While you do allow individuals to work remotely, I personally know you will bring those people back in to meet with one another, even if it is remotely, on a daily, weekly basis, because you got to have that too.
No, it's 2 times a day we do it, Patrick.
There you go. There you go.
And I think it's as important to them as it is to me as the leader. No one wants to be in a ship where you don't know who the captain is.
Yeah. Yep.
I was an Alaskan fisherman for 2.5 years. And I can guarantee you this, in the Bering Sea, 30 to 40 foot swells weekly, Patrick. I'm talking about weather that would literally, I really can't say it on camera, but you'd be scared shitless if you can think about that. Yeah. Where like scared to the point where you're like, death is here. The only person you're thinking about is the captain of that ship. You don't have to see him. You don't see him because the ship is about 9 levels. But you know he's in the wheelhouse. And you know that he's working those swells and those waves. And even though you hear dishes crashing, you hear, ship takes on water. It's happened to me several times where the ship took on millions of gallons of water and we had to actually get out of it. These are vessels that are the size of a football field. Absolutely. And I can guarantee you one thing. If you're running a company and it's a national company or a regional company or even a local company, it's a ship. And if your workers, who may be remote workers, don't realize there's a captain in that wheelhouse, guess what? Anarchy, panic, despair, apathy, distrust, depression. You cannot have it in today's day and age. Remote workforces need leadership. Let's make that straight.
I couldn't agree with you more. So that I want to go into what you have here next. And, when you're on one of those ships or you're out there, let's say in the middle of the waters and trying to negotiate your day remotely, yeah. I think one of the most important things you can do is ensure that the person out there is empowered, they're educated, that person knows their job, their role. I've seen companies starting to take a grassroots efforts to this, getting out there and doing job fairs, conferences, hiring events, like a Ruth Chris or a Top Golf.
Yes,
Will there
sir.
have people out? Can you talk the industry itself doing a better job of educating people on the benefits of being a part of this?
So I can talk about it because I'm in the process of becoming better at it myself.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is something that I'm personally, as an owner, struggling with. I've been making that change. And I can understand what you just went over. It goes beyond just hiring and job fairs and things like that, Patrick. It's also onboarding now. Yeah, like I have a digital program that helps
Sure.
contractors run their businesses. Guess what I have to do now? I have to onboard remote workers. Wow. That's an entire industry in itself, people. You understand what I'm saying, right? Onboarding remote work, and then you need a digital system to be able to actually conduct that business. I could tell you this, Patrick. I think we just thought of a nice new platform. We should just make that up right now.
There's JobProgress can help you remotely train people coming up next.
Workerprogress.com. You and I can go 50-50. I mean, it's that important. It's that important.
It is that important. Yeah. So there's two more things I wanted to discuss with you here that I took away from reading your blog and kind of getting a little bit of a secret look at this, or a first look at it. You said one thing that stuck out to my mind, addressing issues immediately. This, in my opinion, right now is something that perhaps is more important than ever. It's because we've got a dichotomy. We've got people out there in the business world who think, well, there's millions of people looking for a job. I mean, I can find people anywhere right now because there's a shortage, I can find people. And they maybe are not addressing issues like they should in the beginning, and they're losing people because we have, as we alluded to earlier, a different kind of workforce right now. This is a different kind of person between, let's say, 25 and 35.
Yes.
How important is it actually to get out there and address the issues, nip it in the bud now?
All right. So you're not going to like what I say, but I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Remember we were talking about the captain of the ship?
Yeah.
This has to be a top-down situation, buddy. You need to have somebody vetting these people before you even addressing issues that has a keen sense for people. Because you're 3,000 miles away, I need to be able to squash problems before they become problems. And I can guarantee you this, I've had to step up to the plate more often than I used to. When people actually physically came to the office, you can get a sense for people because you're interacting and there's like that proximity. Now you can't squash problems when the guy's in his shorts doing anything that he wants at home, and they could play you big time. It's a 3-step process in my mind. One, you need somebody that has skills that's a human being, or maybe future AI or machine learning, but right now it's human beings that can actually ask the questions in a manner that helps you squash future problems right up there. So we're talking pre-hire questions that are direct, that are actionable questions, no bullshit questions. There's no time to fuck around. I can guarantee you that. I can't afford a bad hire, especially a bad remote hire. That guy's going to get me for about 7,000 to 10,000 if he fools me. Okay. All right. And you do that 3 times a quarter, and you're not going to double your revenue next year. So we're not going to have that. So right now, my squashing the future problems happens up front, and I'm brutally direct. You have to see me. I wish that you were actually on with me, Patrick. I am so brutally direct. It's crazy. I'm going through the phone line. I'm going through the phone line mentally, and I'm trying to dissect how this guy's going to fuck me later on. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's a challenge. Because I've got almost a dozen hot people that JobProgress we're hiring. if I get screwed even 4 to 5 times, it's gonna ruin half of my year. You know?
Absolutely.
So I answered your question in a way, but it's, I try to squash the problem before they become a problem by being super hard up front. Number 2 is I look for personality and character traits beyond capabilities. I look for personality and character traits beyond capabilities. I don't care if you are from a mud patch in the middle of Louisiana. If you come across as somebody with ethics, with character, with passion, with commitment, with interest, with honor, you're fucking with me, man. I'm hiring you no matter what. If you come up with me with all this bullshit and these degrees and this fake fucking resume and this bullshit answers where you can't even talk to me as a man or a woman, I could smell that real quick these days. You're out before you become my next problem.
Huge.
And then the third thing is better than anything else. You have to indoctrinate them into a team atmosphere, and they have to know that there's people to support them, that love them, that respect them, and want them to be personally happy. This is the new workforce paradigm, and there has to be numbers. Numbers are like God's gift to us. They need something that they're going to understand what is success, what's failure, and what's mediocrity. So that's my personal. What's your thoughts? I mean, I'm talking too much, Patrick.
No, I really like the last part that we said right here. I think you're absolutely correct. People right now, more than ever, and I say this from a younger audience, okay?
Yeah.
If you grew up in a social media world, you need instant gratification. You know, your attention span is less and less, not only for younger people, but for all of us. And so I think because of that, you want to feel like I did a good job. Yes. And the only way you know I did a
even
good
I
job,
want to feel like I did a good job.
Right. Is if there are numbers and things to hit. And I think this is where a lot of owners are screwing up right now, is they think instead of holding their feet to the fire, I've got somebody I've got to coddle. I don't believe that's the case here yet. I think the coddling isn't saying you need to hit this number. This is what good, better, best is. Yeah. This is where you need to be at. That, in my opinion, people react to regardless of where they're at. But people are looking for that gratification. There's something to be said. When I hit the number I'm supposed to hit, I feel a sense inside of, wow, accomplishment.
Yes.
And that accomplishment fuels me to more accomplishment.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I want to end with this here for you about putting people in a place to actually succeed in your company. You know, you were talking about hiring a few different people. We've used the captain of the ship example. There's multiple positions on that ship. How do you hire appropriately and put somebody in a position where they can succeed? And otherwise, maybe if they're over on this side of your company, they fail in a week. How best do you find that place to put someone?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. You know, experience helps. Experience helps. You know, failure and success. You know, understanding the nature of people and the nature of the position, and your own internal strengths and weaknesses as well, and the macro strengths and weaknesses of the company. So what I do is I make a mental map, to be quite honest. And I've never thought of this, but I'm saying it out loud for the first time. For every situation, I make a mental map of the position, my company, where it stands today, because my company at each point is different. Every week, we're always growing. And so I might have a different answer because the company's a different company a week from now, Patrick. Okay.
Wow.
So I take where I'm at mentally, because I'm the captain. I take where my company's at from where it's at that point in time. I take the position and what I know from business in terms of, and from the results needed. And then I look at that human being. I've got 2 salespeople and I try to judge less. Does that make sense? I try to judge less. Doesn't mean that I'm weaker in the end result, but I don't let preconceived notions limit my ability to choose somebody that I may not have chosen prior, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I've got salespeople now in a lot of different states. I've got 2 staff that are happily having babies, and they're producing more sales than people who come into the office every day. It's I don't know. I think one part of the success is being in it as well. You can't be on the football field and be a quarterback and come in like, at a point where like I'm there living it every day, play by play. That's how I'm able to hire now in a way that I believe is a little better, even in this really challenging Great Resignation sort of area that we're in. I don't know.
I think, David, what you do really well, though, and you mentioned it right there, is you are involved in the day-to-day process. And many owners right now are wondering, why am I struggling? Are you involved day-to-day with your individuals? And if you're not going to be, okay, then find someone that is going to be able to be that liaison for you within your company. Because coming in the second quarter as the starting quarterback it doesn't make sense to people. Even if you come in and have a great game, it doesn't make sense conceptually to the people on the field. Well, why have I been putting in the hard work?
And they won't respect you, and they won't respect you, and they won't work hard for you. If you want me to bleed for you, you know what you're going to tell me, David? I'm going to take that sword behind me, David. I'm going to march into battle. I want you to do this, 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 and this. And I can tell you this. I got your back and you got mine. No matter what, if we come in it, we do it together. If we die together. That's the kind of shit that helps companies like on a mission stay focused. If they don't think that that guy is with you and they just want to come and analyze the situation, who the fuck wants that anymore? You need to do it. You need to do it, man. And guess what? It starts with yourself. I think this podcast is actually teaching me something that I need to dig deeper because, if we really want to do this hiring that I want to do this year in 2022, it's going to take a lot of personal interaction to get the level of success that I want to get. And so, I appreciate you helping me through these thoughts because, I think our viewers will also benefit from that.
I agree with you. I'm going to take away 3 things from this: the pre-hire direct questions, the looking for traits beyond their capabilities, and indoctrinating them into your team. I mean, that's 3 things I've got written down right here that I really love. David, I want to end. Anything else you want people to know about this blog? We're doing it monthly. You're coming out, a lot of different value. It's going to have different topics. It's not just going to be about technology and job progress. Is that right?
Yeah. With this first one, what I wanted to do was surround myself with people I trust. So, whether it be you or Sean Meehan or my Lee Tomio on my end, who was one of my employees, I wanted to know that whatever message we're sort of trying to get across and talking about, it was going to be something that would resonate and be high value. What I don't want is to talk about things in a way that's not helpful. And I think that, when you talk from your heart, when you do it with passion, and when you actually have domain experience and you're actually in it. So I want to talk about things that I know about, first off, that either bother me or that I have some sort of like expert sort of knowledge of. I want to make sure it's definitely has to do with home improvements and home services, because that's the industry I'm in. And then I'm also willing to talk about things that I don't think other people are addressing. And I don't give a shit about what the ramifications are. I could care less.
That's true about you.
So this particular one was helping me get acclimated, but I think it'll get more exciting as time goes on. This is number 1. And so,
I love it, man.
When we get to number 12, we'll either be locked up together or whatever the case may be. But I want to talk about shit that matters.
Will we deplatformed? It'll be great. One of the 2, I'll tell you. Well, I'll tell you what, man. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about this because I learn a little bit from you every single time.
Thank you,
I know that other people will as well. So I'm looking forward to next month what we can talk about there.
Couldn't do it without you, Patrick. Thank you so much.